It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Yo, another week has come and gone. In fact, this is the last Friday of the month. Next week, it'll be the 1st of May, and we are still here. We're still powering through. Welcome to it. This is ZiFM Sport on a Friday, Fire Friday, the lockdown edition. From our homes to the comfort of your homes, you hear from Barry Manandi, Mike Madoda, Mark Paz, Chris, and Alois Bunjira. My name is Sean Tafirenyika. I'm the producer for ZiFM Sport. I hope you're staying at home and being safe. Tonight we've got another case on our hands. The ZiFM Sport courtroom will preside over this matter. Which was the better side? Manchester United's treble winners? Arsenal's Invincibles? Or Manchester City's Centurions? Hit us up with your thoughts. The handle is at ZiFM Sport on Facebook and Twitter. I want to know what you think. And as always, we'll also keep you up to date with what's happening in the world of sport with updates from a beautiful game, a local sports news roundup around the world in 60, plus our power play on a Friday, Fire Friday. Let's kick things off with the local sports news roundup from Barry.
The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Your local sports news roundup starts with basketball, where former Harare Basketball League chairman Sunny Bofana has been handed the reins to lead the newly formed SADC Basketball League. Bofana, who is the chairman of the Harare City Hornets, was appointed the president of the league last week when the leadership held their inaugural virtual meeting. A renowned sports administrator who has been in basketball since 1992, Bofana was given the responsibility to make a difference to the organization. Congratulations to him, and we all wish him the best. On to athletics. In line with embracing technology to continue with their administrative function, the National Athletic Association of Zimbabwe held its first quarter meeting via virtual platform, fulfilling a statutory requirement for the Sports and Recreation Commission. The association resolved to officially suspend its calendar following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. 15 members comprising 5 executive committee members and the 10 provincial chairpersons participated in the meeting. On the advice of the International Association of Athletics Federation, the IAAF, it was agreed that NAAZ should prepare for the resumption of their programs between August and September. Let's wrap it up with a look at the top tier of domestic football, the Castle Premier Soccer League, where the Premier Soccer League chairman Farai Jere remains confident the top flight league will eventually get underway this year. The program, which was supposed to start early this month, has been thrown into disarray following the extension of the coronavirus lockdown by another 2 weeks. The domestic football season traditionally runs from March to November, and considerable time has already been lost. There are genuine fears the league might fail to get underway this year, but Jere is adopting a positive approach.
Hi, I'm Vario's coach Zdravko Logarušić, and you are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Sports with a difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, court is in session once again. Tonight, we've got a big matter on our hands. Manchester City and Liverpool have lit up the Premier League in the last couple of seasons, landing some of the biggest points hauls the competition has ever seen and playing incredible attacking football in the process. But are they the greatest Premier League teams we have ever seen? Tonight, we've picked 3 great sides. Manchester United's treble winners of 1998 and 1999, Arsenal's Invincibles of the 2003 and 2004 season, and Manchester City's Centurions of the 2017 and 2018 season. Now the Z team will present their argument on which was the better side. Which was the better side between Manchester United's treble winners, Arsenal's Invincibles, and Man City Centurions. The thing I like is that you at home, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, will make your verdict, and Barry Manandi will have the honor of representing you and telling us which was the better side. Mike will make the case for Manchester City Centurions, but before him, let me turn to Alois. Which team was the better side?
This is a tricky question, but I'm trying to figure out. I'm already playing the three teams in my head, and all the three teams were good, very good, and they dominated their time in the English Premier Soccer League. But if I have to pick one team, I'll go for the Manchester United 1999 treble winning team, because that team was awesome. When you look back, I watched this treble video, watching every goal that they scored, some of the goals that they scored, and some of the wins that they chalked. And to ice it all, icing on the cake, that Champions League final where they won that match in injury time, I think that team was awesome. I remember that year in the FA Cup semi-final, they were down to 10 men and Arsenal were marauding, but Manchester United still found a way to actually snatch that victory through Ryan Giggs' solo effort from Ryan Giggs, running like almost the full length of the pitch before hitting the roof of the net against Arsenal. I still remember that match vividly. But all in all, I think that team, in short, not the team yakabatana. Although yes, Manchester United, Manchester City, team yakabatana, Arsenal team yakabatana as well. But the manner in which Manchester United went on to win that treble was just outrageous. Some of the matches, there was a time when they were actually losing 3-0 at halftime. I think it was to Newcastle. They were losing 3-0 to Newcastle. They went on to win that match 5-4. Towards the end, they came back halftime, they scored 1, and Newcastle went 4-1, and they went on to score 4 goals and won that match by 5-4. That was the hallmark of a great team. And you remember some of the moments that they were equalizing towards the end. Champions League football, not just that final. Remember the quarterfinal against Inter Milan. They drew 1-1. They drew 1-1 at Old Trafford, and they went on to draw 2-2 in Italy, and the Juventus semi-final. Remember that match as well, Ryan Giggs scoring that all-important equalizer at Old Trafford. Then they went to the final and did what they did. That was just awesome throughout the whole season. And not taking anything away from Manchester City's Centurions or Arsenal's Invincibles, but I still believe that the Manchester United of the 1999 season, that treble winning team, they were just awesome. And you would just sit there, even when they were losing 2-0, 2 minutes to go, you would just sit there expecting that they would do something. And most probably they were doing something. They were just outstanding. And when you look at the front line of Dwight York and Andy Cole, when the chips are down, they will just conjure up something. And you know what, it was actually flattering and actually surprising for me when I heard them talking that, the dummies that they used to do on the field, they never trained them. It's things that just came on the field. You would dummy there, get into space, and he received the pass. And they said that they never practiced those things. They just came out. So this is a team that just connected. They had a connection. Everything that they wanted to do was just working. And I know I'm at a loss for words when I look back at that team, that whole season. It was just phenomenal. It was a machine. And I don't know, from Peter Schmeichel, you look at Roy Keane, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Teddy Sheringham, Ole. That was a team. That was a team that you could actually. But when you ask me, I don't know, man. I'll struggle. If you say if they are pitted against each other, let's say the Invincibles against the Manchester United team, then it becomes difficult, But remember that game that I talked about, the FA Cup semi-final, that where Ryan Giggs scored. Actually, that was actually the beginning of the Invincibles. At that time, the Invincibles were just starting. I think that was actually the team that went on to be the Invincibles the following season. So I still believe that the Manchester United of that year, the treble-winning Manchester United is the best of the three.
Z.
Hi, I'm Clemens Matau, chicken in midfielder. You're listening to ZiFM Sports.
100 points in the English Premier League. It's a feat no team has ever achieved before Manchester City in the 2017-2018 season. Now, City invested heavily in the playing squad at the start of that season, bringing in the likes of Bernardo Silva, Edison from Benfica, Kyle Walker from Tottenham Hotspur, Danilo and Benjamin Mendy. The Blues would break their transfer record in January to sign Aymeric Laporte from the Athletic Club of Bilbao, which plies its trade in Spain's La Liga. City that season won their Premier League opener against Brighton, but dropped points in only the second game of the campaign against Everton, with Raheem Sterling rescuing a point with 8 minutes on the clock. Guardiola praised its team efforts after the game and promised improvement. Improve they certainly did. The draw against the Toffees sparked an upturn in form for the citizens, starting an 18-game winning streak that included a 5-0 rout against Liverpool, as well as victories against the big boys Arsenal, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. The run was eventually broken after a goalless draw against Crystal Palace, but records had already been smashed. It was the most consecutive Premier League victories in a single campaign and the most consecutive Premier League wins overall, beating records held by Chelsea and Arsenal. City's first defeat of the season came at the hands of Liverpool in January 2018 at Anfield. The scores were actually level at the break, but the Blues conceded 3 goals in less than 10 minutes in the second half. Despite late goals from Bernardo and Ilkay Gundogan, City couldn't complete a comeback. The unbeaten run may have been ended, but the reality was that City was still 15 points clear at the top of the Premier League table with a plus 50 goal difference. Oh my goodness. I mean, City would fail to win just 3 of their remaining 15 fixtures on their way to becoming Premier League champions for the 3rd time. The citizens sent a host of records tumbling with their remarkable feat. The Centurions hold these records. Most points in a Premier League season, 100. Most goals in a Premier League season, 106. Most total wins in a Premier League season, 32. Biggest winning margin in a Premier League season, 19 points. Earliest title win. Highest goal difference in a Premier League season. You know what? Want to know what it was? Plus 79 was their goal difference. Now, of course, the treble-winning Manchester United side in 1999 and Arsenal's Invincibles were all phenomenal, but none can match the achievements of Pep Guardiola's side. You know, going the entire season unbeaten is a phenomenal feat, and no one is trying to take the shine of what was a fabulous Arsenal side and what they achieved. But if you parachute Arsenal's Invincibles into that season that Manchester City had, they would finish a full 10 points behind City. Advocates of the Invincibles, of course, base their entire argument on the notion that football is about not getting beaten, but which is probably true if you are a Jose Mourinho or George Graham type of guy. But for some of us, it isn't. For the pure of heart and those who truly love the game, football is about goals. Football is about entertainment. Football is about winning, and certainly doing it in style, which is what Manchester City Centurions did. Now, Manchester United's treble-winning side too, they're a phenomenal side. And that's when you look at what they achieved and you throw Europe into the fray. I mean, their league record, I think, wasn't too glam. It was rather ordinary in terms of the points tallies in the different seasons. But what that team had was a winning mentality and a never say die attitude that saw them cross the line in the big matches, which is why they swept all before them in that golden season. But cup competitions, guys, are not the ultimate measure of consistency, no matter how big or glamorous. The league is. The league is a marathon. The league is the ultimate test in consistency and ability. United finished that season with just 79 points and would have been a whopping 21 points behind Manchester City's Centurions. I rest my case, Your Honor. For me, the arguments are telling. The statistics are clear. Pep Guardiola's Citizens, the best side we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Like Mike mentioned, with the City Centurions, it was record after record that was being broken. I counted 7 records from the presented evidence. And really, the only argument, and this is me reaching, hey, if you look at that particular season, with Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea all declining, and their rivals, their real rivals were Liverpool. That's when that rivalry was really emerging. Can we say that City would have broken all those kind of records if they had stiffer competition? That's the only argument I can think of, and this is me really reaching, because they were phenomenal, but you have to admit, United, Arsenal and Chelsea were kind of on the decline in that 2017-2018 season. Regardless, they retained the title the following season, that 2018-2019 season, with the second highest tally of 98 points. Remember how they just edged out Liverpool in that thrilling title race that had an exciting climax. Now, before Mike presented his case, we heard from Alois, who made the case for United's treble winners. Now, the gist of Bunji's argument was that United had that X factor. He mentioned how they had so much attack and it was almost instinctual, mentioning those big name United players. With a largely British and Irish core, it was a team which contained multiple players who are still in conversations for the Premier League all-time best 11. This includes Ryan Giggs, Roy Keane, we heard the names, Paul Scholes, David Beckham, that class of 99. I mean, though Manchester City won an incredible domestic treble season, United had the icing on the cake because they had that coveted Champions League trophy. And with Alex Ferguson, his rivalry with Arsene Wenger nearing the peak, United won the league by just 1 single point. So you can see that United also have a strong case on which team was better between them, the treble winners, and the Citizens Centurions. Keep your messages coming in. I want to get your thoughts. The handle is at ZiFM Sport on Facebook and Twitter. Remember, we've got our power play updates from the beautiful game. But coming up next is the latest in international sports news with Around the World in 60 with Chris.
Around the World in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We take off in Australia, where plans for the T20 World Cup to be held in October as planned remain in place, but organisers in Australia are exploring all other options given uncertainty over global health. A meeting of the International Cricket Council's Chief Executives Committee was held via conference call, with the money-spinning men's tournament one of the leading issues for discussion. The Women's World Cup in 2021 has greater breathing space given its place in the calendar. It's due to take place in New Zealand next February, and a statement confirmed that preparations continue for both events to take place as scheduled. We head over to Italy, where Ferrari have insisted that they remain committed to Formula One following reports that the sport's oldest and most successful team could walk away if a proposed budget cap for 2021 was set too low. The Guardian suggested Ferrari were prepared to quit in a headline later replaced over an interview with team boss Mattia Binotto. But Ferrari have insisted that Binotto had not mentioned leaving Formula One. We touched down in the USA, where, as expected, the Cincinnati Bengals made Louisiana State quarterback Joe Burrow the new face of their franchise with the first overall pick of the 2020 NFL Draft. In years gone by, drama has stalked the opening stages of the draft, where the best players in college football are selected by 32 NFL franchises. But there had been little doubt about Burrow and the Bengals.
Hi, my name is Rune Shamba, Mytoria's super striker. You're listening to ZiFM Sports.
Let the trial resume. We are hearing the case of which side was better. Manchester United's treble winners, Arsenal's Invincibles, or Manchester City's Centurions. Alois has presented for the treble winners. Mike has made the case for the Citizens Centurions. Let's now hear from Paz, who make the case for the Invincibles. And after that, it will be Barry with your verdict.
In football, the Invincibles is a nickname that is used to refer to, in fact, the Preston North End team of the 1888-89 season, managed by a guy by the name of William Sundell, and then Arsenal, the Arsenal team of 2003-2004, managed by one Arsene Wenger. Now, 2003-2004 season, Arsenal regained the Premier League without a single defeat. Over 38 games played, their league record stood at 26 wins, 12 draws and 0 losses. This was the Arsenal Invincibles, and what a team. Now, compared with the club's double winning side of 1998, which was a good team, only Patrick Vieira and Dennis Bergkamp remained as first team players throughout that unbeaten run. Martin Keown was getting long in the tooth, and he featured briefly, while Ray Parler made 25 appearances. Lee Dixon and Tony Adams had both retired from professional football in 2002, and goalkeeper David Seaman went on to join Manchester City a year later. Arsenal had Kolo Touré, who was signed as right back and defensive midfielder, and he was actually chosen to play in central defence alongside Sol Campbell after impressing during pre-season. Lauren, who played as a midfielder for Real Mallorca, was shifted in as right back when he joined Arsenal, so some real good position changes that were done by Arsene Wenger during that time. Wenger initially replaced left back Nigel Winterburn with Salvinho, but an injury to the defender allowed Ashley Cole to take his place as a first pick by the 2000-2001 season. In midfield, Gilberto Silva partnered Patrick Vieira, and Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Perez each played either side of the wing. So it was a real great team. You had Thierry Henry signed as Nicolas Anelka's replacement in 99, and that was the team's focal point in attack, and supported more often than another by Dennis Bergkamp. So what a team. I mean, we could just look at it. Lehman in goal, Campbell and Touré, the central defence, Lauren and Cole, your right and left back. In midfield, Patrick Vieira, Gilberto, Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Perez on the flanks, and then Bergkamp just behind Thierry Henry. Arsenal played most of their season in a 4-4-1-1 formation. Their unbeaten run came close to ending 6 matches into the campaign against United, that game ending 0-0, and at the turn of the calendar year, Arsenal won 9 league matches in a row to consolidate first position. They secured their status as champions with a draw against local rivals Tottenham in 2004. However, their form did not continue into the domestic cups. It seemed the Premiership title was where they were concentrating on, and they exited both the FA Cup and the UEFA Champions League as well. But continuing into the next season, a special gold version of the Premier League trophy was commissioned to commemorate Arsenal's winning the title without a single defeat. In May 2018, the gold trophy was presented to Arsene Wenger as a gift from Arsenal Football Club at Wenger's final home game as manager after 22 years in charge. Incidentally, Manchester United ended Arsenal's 49-game unbeaten run on the very day in 2004. United beat Arsenal 2-0 at Old Trafford to end the Invincibles' 49-game unbeaten run in a feisty encounter. But you can say that the Arsenal team of that year, 2003-2004, headed by Arsene Wenger, were the Arsenal Invincibles.
Hi, I'm Warriors coach Zdravko Logarušić, and you are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Sports with a difference.
Z. 3 fantastic arguments presented for 3 fantastic teams, and it was a privilege to actually watch them as they played the game in 1999, 2003, 2004 for Arsenal, and then the Centurions of Manchester City in 2017, 2018. We must deliver a verdict. Not going to be easy because there's not a lot to separate these 3 teams. But let's look at Manchester United first and foremost. This was a team that was able to get a result even when their backs were to the wall. They could grind out a result, and I think that attitude, the spirit, which became known as the Manchester United way, which is we never say die, especially under Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously Fergie time coming into it. Look at it, it's particularly exemplified by the way that they approached that FA Cup semi-final replay against Arsenal. And then, of course, that Champions League final, arguably one of the best Champions League comebacks of all time, where they left Bayern Munich wondering what had hit them, scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of the game, virtually the last kick of the game, and winning the cup. That was the nature of this team. So I believe that to be a strong and compelling argument for this team, not to mention the quality that was on the field. It wasn't just graft and determination. You had Schmeichel in goal, Jaap Stam, your Scholes of this world, the Giggses, the Beckhams. There was quality all over the field. In the dugout, Sir Alex Ferguson. So this team certainly makes a strong case. The Arsenal of 03-04 also makes a very strong case, because the Invincibles were absolutely astounding. It's not easy to go through a 38-game season unbeaten. We can see by the Barcelona team of a couple of seasons ago failed to do it, falling almost at the end. Liverpool of this season looking like they were going to blitz everybody, falling at a time when nobody expected them to. So it's not easy to go through a 38-game season unbeaten. This team managed to do that, and also managed to stretch it to 49 games. So they carried on. They almost created a legacy, a dynasty as this Arsenal team. And Arsene Wenger, kudos to him, because when he arrived in England, he changed the game. He changed the diet of players. He changed the way that teams played, and his team showed us how you can entertain, how you can score goals, and how football ought to be played. A game-changing team, no doubt. He had quality all over the field, just like the Manchester United team. Jens Lehmann in goal, Sol Campbell, Kolo Toure at the heart of their defense. You had Ashley Cole in that team, Patrick Vieira, what a leader. Dennis Bergkamp, the brain of football, the things that Dennis Bergkamp could do. It was sad to see him retire. And then, of course, up front, Thierry Henry, Mr. X Factor himself. So again, the Arsenal team makes a very strong case. Manchester City, the Centurions of 2017-2018. Remember, leading up to the season of 2017-2018, a lot of what was now being focused upon was get a result at all costs. The Mourinho approach, the Simeone approach, whereby there was justification that, defending is also part of the game, so you should be able to get a result even through a defensive strategy. But Pep Guardiola, arriving with this 2017-2018 Centurion clocking team, made every football fan be reminded why we all fell in love with the game, why there is an obligation for teams, a responsibility for teams to entertain, apart from also get a result. And he certainly did that. He also clocked some phenomenal records on the way to doing that, clocking the 100 points. Obviously, the most points scored in a season, 100. Most away points, 50. Most points ahead of second, 19 points ahead of second place. Most wins, 32. Most away wins, 16. Most goals, 106 goals. A century of goals. The best goal difference, plus 79. And you'll recall that they only lost 2 games all season long, drawing 4. This was an astounding football team. They had a relentless nature about them, with company at the heart of their defense leading them. Raheem Sterling, De Bruyne, Aguero, Sane, you could list the entire team. Therefore, for the balance in this team, for the quality in the team, for the entertainment value, for the fact that this Manchester City team managed to win over fans of other teams. They may not admit it in public, but certainly when they watched the Sky Blues play in 2017-2018, they had a soft spot for this team because of the way that they played the game. So for me, Manchester City wins it. That's my verdict, and I'm sticking to it.
Ultimately, your verdict, as we heard from Barry, is that Manchester City Centurions were the better side. I mean, City slightly edged because they were record-breaking, just breaking record after record. And it's really hard to ignore the beautiful football they played and how magnificently attacking they were, and also solid at the back. Now, should you wish to appeal this decision, the handle is at ZiFM Sport on Facebook and Twitter. We always allow you to have your say, your way. Let's take a bit of a breather now with our power play on a Friday, Fire Friday.
Hi, this is Mike Madoda, and you can catch me and the team for all the latest breaking news out of the world of sport, local as well as international, on your favorite station, my station, your station, ZiFM. We are Z Team on ZiFM Sport.
You're tuned into ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station. This is the lockdown edition of ZiFM Sport. Let's keep the interaction going. The handle is at ZiFM Sport. You can look for us in our individual capacities. All you have to do is search for our names: Barry Manandi, Mike Madoda, Mark Poz, Alois Bunjira, Chris, and myself, Sean. For now, let's switch gears and catch up with the latest in the world of football in the beautiful game.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudent. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
Red Bull Leipzig forward Timo Werner is ready to sign for Liverpool if they pay his £52 million release clause before it expires on the 15th of June. But Liverpool, like in January, do not intend to make a move for Werner before his release clause expires. Werner, whose release clause was inserted when he extended his contract last summer until 2023, described his pride at interest from Premier League leaders in February. So he's a man who likes the way that Liverpool plays, likes what Liverpool is doing with football, and Timo Werner himself, a quality football. I think this is a good signing for Liverpool because strength and depth is going to be key if you are approaching every competition you're in to win it. And I think that Liverpool still hasn't cracked it in terms of their squad depth. If you look at Manchester City, they're about there, and that means that they're able to compete and contest every competition with an intent to win it. Not saying that they will win it, but with an intent to win it because of the quality that they've got. And I think Timo Werner certainly adds that to Liverpool. Now, The Germany international was close to joining Bayern Munich last summer in a €30 million deal, and the Bundesliga leaders remain interested in signing him. So there's going to be competition. Now, Werner has also hailed countryman Jurgen Klopp as the best coach in the world and believes Liverpool's style of play suits him amid reports of a move to Anfield. As you know, Timo Werner can operate out wide, he can operate through the middle, and is a fantastic goal scorer. He's not a striker per se, he's more a forward, which is how Klopp likes to play. However, we understand that Klopp doesn't repeat a style of play or a way of playing or a system of play for more than 2 seasons. He's already used this 4-3-3 for 2 seasons, so it will remain to be seen whether he will continue or hold faith with it going into the new season. Timo Werner has scored 27 goals in all competitions this season for Red Bull Leipzig, including 4 to help his club reach the Champions League quarterfinals.
Z. Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
The news coming out of Germany has been mostly good and positive news over the last 2 or so weeks. That's mainly because the German government's response to COVID-19 has been an excellent one. They put in, of course, the protective measures, the social distancing measures very early on, and it meant that COVID-19 did not have as big an impact in Germany as it has across the rest of the continent in countries like the United Kingdom as well as Italy. And the news today out of Germany is that the Bundesliga is ready to return on May 9 if the German government gives it the green light. League officials have confirmed the league has been suspended since mid-March due to the outbreak of the coronavirus, which has infected more than 148,000 and killed over 5,000 people in Germany. Its resumption behind closed doors remains dependent on government and all federal states' approval. And Bundesliga chief executive Christian Seifert warned providing an exact date would be presumptuous and not in the league's hands. Now, finishing the 2019-2020 season, I think it remains the priority for every major league in Europe, mainly because of its financial implications. And Christian Seifert, who's the CEO of the Bundesliga, or the DFL as it is christened back home in Germany, he said that the failure to do so would mean the Bundesliga would be collateral damage to the coronavirus crisis. Now, let me explain that. The Bundesliga in Germany is at the very top, at the very pinnacle of the football pyramid in Germany, not from just a structural perspective, but also mainly importantly from a financial perspective. The Bundesliga is the one that feeds every level and every tier of football in Germany, including the DFB, which is the Football Association in Germany. They derive massive financial benefit from the Bundesliga, as much as about 140 million euro a year. And that is why there is concern in Germany that if this season is not completed and if money does not come in to the league from the TV companies as it's supposed to do on a regular basis, then it's going to be an absolute crisis. So the concerns of Christian Seifert are certainly very, very valid. And also fans also will be wondering, how will it take place? In what form does football return? Well, they're talking about it being played behind closed doors, and understandably so. I think I'm down for that plan, just to make sure, of course, that there isn't another wave of coronavirus infections. And so they're talking about a maximum of 300 people being involved in the game at a stadium on any given day. The Bundesliga is actually collaborating with 5 different laboratories to ensure adequate testing for the coronavirus. Players would be tested at least once a week, which would require around 20,000 tests for the rest of this season. Now, that, of course, is the level of preparedness that Germany is at, and also some of the steps that they are willing to take to make sure that football is completed. But more than just football being completed and making sure that they stay on an even keel financially, they're making sure that their players, their match officials, and everyone involved in that limited matchday program is tested and kept safe. So we wait to see whether the government in Germany gives its approval, and whether the regional leaders as well, who've got a greater say in what happens in Germany, also rubber stamp these plans, because the German government is a federal government, meaning that the provinces in Germany, the regions, have got a big say. Notably, of course, leaders in Bavaria. Bavaria is the region in which Bayern Munich and the likes of Augsburg are housed. And of course, then you have the influential North Rhine-Westphalia region, where you find Borussia Dortmund and Schalke 04. Those are all critical voices in the decision that will be made in German football, where the football returns on May 9 as proposed by the Bundesliga.
Z. The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wants it!
La Liga's clubs have been told that football matches in Spain will be played behind closed doors until 2021, multiple sources have confirmed. The decision, which is yet to be formally announced, has been made by the Spanish government, taking into account the expected evolution of the coronavirus pandemic. The expectation is that stadiums will gradually reopen under strict safety measures from January 2021 to try to avoid a new outbreak of COVID-19, and may not operate at full capacity until a vaccine is available. We thought that this decision is going to be evaluated and re-evaluated, looking at the situation of the vaccine. If it's found quickly, or if the situation is kept under control very quickly, then a revaluation is going to be done, or if there is a development of a successful treatment. So obviously the Spanish Federation, the Spanish government would want football to start, but until they are so sure of what is going to happen, then that's when the stadium is going to be open open to the public. So we are told also that the matches, they are looking at continuing with La Liga matches to finish the season, the 2019-2020 season, until July. So from June to July, they want to look at a situation where they can actually conclude the La Liga season. So this decision is under review, and obviously they will have to look at it, looking at the situation with the coronavirus. This is what they are looking at. But if the virus is not kept under control, they might even extend the continuation of La Liga as well. And the date has yet to be announced. That's why I was saying that they have to look at the situation, but they are looking at completing La Liga in June and July. But since they haven't found the date yet, I suspect that they will have to look at the situation probably at the end of May to see what is going to happen. Spain is one of Europe's hardest hit country, obviously, with 210,000. Look at this number: 210,000 confirmed cases and 22,000 deaths. That is a big number. That's why they are very careful in Spain. And I'm a football fan. I'm a football fanatic. I'm a football person. I know that football has to be concluded. The season has to be concluded. But playing behind closed doors obviously doesn't really bring fans. It doesn't bring the excitement of football. It really doesn't go well for football to be playing behind closed doors. For the players. Pep Guardiola once said that we play football for the fans. If the fans are not there, then there is no need to be playing football. Yeah, you might say there's no need, and I really do understand. Obviously, they are working, they play football, their TV rights, people who watch from home and all that. But obviously, the player that is playing on the field would want to have fans in the stadium. So that's why I think he is talking about why should we play football without fans, obviously. Then in Spain they haven't yet started training, unlike in Italy and Germany, where they've started to train indoors and all that. But in Spain they haven't really yet started training, and we don't know what and when the season is going to really restart. La Liga has now passed the news onto their first and second division club. They've passed the news onto their first and second division club that weekend they are only going to play behind closed doors, and obviously the clubs are going to prepare for that, and they will have to start training and wait for the date to come through. But like I said, this is kind of like tricky, and this coronavirus is just changed the whole complexion of football, and I don't know where to from here. See, when I'm looking at football and I'm trying to think, there is social distancing, there's no handshakes, there's no hugs, there's no celebration with the fans, there's no autographs. Fans are supposed to be spaced apart. I don't know what is going to happen with the bucket seats as well. Are they going to space them as well and all that? I don't know where we are going, guys. The future is bleak. We don't really know what is going to happen. But as we speak right now, La Liga is set to reopen. They expect to restart La Liga in June and July. Let's just hope that everything happens quickly and the vaccine is found, because without it, I don't see a future in sport. They are saying that until 2021 there won't be any fans. Football will be played behind closed doors. Even when you get to 2021, if we don't have the vaccine, what is going to happen then? So everything is just up in the air, and we don't know what is going to happen. We just pray to God.
The Nerazzurri, the Black and Blues, Inter Milan.
It's Romelu Lukaku, and it was never in doubt. He's a beast at the best of times, but this season he has become a monster.
The Giallorossi, the Yellow and Reds, AS Roma.
Belotti has a go! Tremendous hits! That's what he's capable of.
La Viola, the Purple Ones, Fiorentina.
Franck Ribéry seals a glorious win for Fiorentina with a sumptuous goal at San Siro.
The Bianconeri, the Black and Whites, Juventus.
Ronaldo seals yet another 3 points for Juventus.
Tough yet colourful, the best of Italian football on Z.
To the Serie A we go, and Italian football chiefs on Thursday announced that the end of the Serie A season will be pushed back from the 30th of June to August the 2nd to finish the season suspended amid the coronavirus pandemic. Federation President Gabriel Gravina said the FIGC would adopt a resolution in the coming hours to postpone the end of the 2019-2020 sports season to the 2nd of August. No sport has been played in Italy since the 9th of March as the country grapples with the COVID-19 crisis, which has killed over 25,000 people. So Serie A clubs 20 clubs, in fact, on Tuesday voted unanimously to complete the league season, but the final decision will obviously be down to the Italian government. The federation also hopes clubs can start training again from the 4th of May, the date on which the government plans to start easing containment measures. So that will be interesting, and I think it is a step in the right direction. Meanwhile, in Germany, the Bundesliga is preparing to resume without spectators on the 9th of May, making it the first major European league back in action, but the final go-ahead rests with the political leaders. So again, the same applies in Germany. They've sort of set a date as the 9th of May. They'll play behind closed doors, and I'm sure Italy and the rest of Europe will follow suit. European football's governing body UEFA also yesterday left the door open for leagues to bring an early end to their seasons, and said qualification for the next Champions League should be based on sporting merit. That's going to be interesting to see if it gets to that. UEFA did not, however, provide a detailed calendar for the resumption of competitions. One of the possible scenarios would be for National League and Cup competitions to conclude in early August, with the latter stages of the season's Champions League and Europa League to be played later in the month, which makes sense. You need to get the leagues going in all the European countries, get them completed, and then get straight into the European competitions and get them done and dusted, get the final done, and then have a short break and then start the new season.
Z. The beating drum. The roaring fans. Take a ride on the wild side with the Africa Report on ZiFM Sport.
Mamelodi Sundowns coach Pitso Mosimane has provided the latest on the contract renewal situation with the club, calling for patience from the supporters. Mosimane is currently in the final weeks of his contract with Sundowns since signing a 4-year deal back in June 2016 after he completed the initial 3.5-year deal he penned in December 2012. With plenty of speculation around whether he'll be staying or going at the end of the season, which is under threat due to the COVID-19 pandemic sweeping across the country, he's since called for calm from those doubting his future at Sundowns. In a statement, he said that the club leadership wanted him to stay and he also wanted to remain at the club. In a 7.5-year reign so far, he's managed to do quite a bit for the club. The 55-year-old brilliant tactician, he's led the club to a total of 9 major titles. That includes 4 league trophies and a CAF Champions League and a Super Cup and 3 other domestic cups. So currently Mamelodi Sundowns are second in the ABSA Premiership with a game in hand. So they're only 4 points behind, meaning they could very easily take over the number 1 spot, which is currently held by Kaizer Chiefs. This could actually be why the fans are nervous. They could feel that if he were to leave the club, then it could potentially derail chances of them winning the league, which is at the moment well within the grasp. This, of course, all relying on the fact that the league will continue in one format or the other. We're still to hear from SAFA to find out whether the league will continue and in what format that the league is going to be continuing. But it looks like the lockdown in South Africa is going to be de-escalated slowly, and the sport could be part of that de-escalation process that will only take place right at the end.
Z.
You know what? Time is never a friend on the show. We gotta go. But we'll be back on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody, and stay safe.
And it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
The biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.